Hello and welcome to this Chessodoro game review. This was a 15+10 game on Chess.com between 1000 rated players. Student is playing white and he said to me, "Hello, I need some advice from you. During my Chessodoro training period I have started playing more consciously and in December I gained plus 100 points on Chess.com. But suddenly for about last 10 games I have been playing totally bad. I'm losing all the time, and even if I won once or twice, it was game full of blunders." Well, let me tell you, this is a well-known phenomena, not only in chess but in other sports activities. It's called learning dip. I surely have encountered this in my students. It's a temporary drop in performance after starting new training or training methods, followed by improvement once the new skills consolidate. So when you, for example, start training seriously in chess, your brain is rebuilding how you play, the patterns and so on. So at first you kind of makes you maybe too overconfident, you want fast results, good results ASAP, or on the contrary, it could make you slower and less confident. So it can have both sides, but results usually drop short term when you start training intensively, so don't worry about it. But once you learn new things and apply them, your level will jump forward. So my advice would be just keep playing and training and don't get discouraged by short-term bad results. Everyone has bad day in chess. This is like this sort of activity. You cannot play only good all the time basically in chess. So keep it going for some time and I'm sure you'll see an improvement and your results will get better long term. So let's start the game. Long philosophical introduction, but c6, d4, d5, so Caro-Kann, ed. Okay, you play the exchange variation in the Caro-Kann. I also like e5 move, just advanced variation. But this is a very solid setup for white what you play, and very nice development, very easy plans to understand where the pieces should be located. So you say I was feeling comfortable as we both were developing our pieces. So excellent choice, this opening against Caro, and actually an easy system, and reminds me a bit of a London system, where usually we know where we place the pieces. And I can tell you from my experience, Caro-Kann players usually hate the system to play as black, because hard to win with black, I would say, if white knows correctly what to do. So bishop g4, knight f3. Okay, fine move, for your level is okay, but actually the main theoretical move is just get out with this queen here. And you see the bishop kind of left the c8 square, so we counterattack on b7. And I think the game can continue in many ways here. Usually I think queen d7 is played, or queen c8 sometimes, so lots of theory here, but usually we want the queen out of here so that we don't get our knight pinned when he develops and he can immediately jump on e5. That's why we move the queen here. So knight f3 played, but this is for low level it's just perfectly fine. Bishop d6. Okay, he exchanges some bishops, and now we go h3. Maybe let's not include this move. You want we'll see later why it kind of hindered your. If you imagine later rook was coming to attack, h3 is kind of an obstacle for this rook. So it's really not a bad move, but long term we want to keep this square for a rook usually in this line. So maybe go just castle. I would still maybe move the queen. Bring the other rook. Something like this could happen, like bring the other rook. You see, we don't even need h3, and sometimes even they take the knight first without even us provoking them. And we put the knight on e5, usually something like this, and we go f4, rooks, lifting rooks, queen usually comes back, and that's how we attack in this line. So h3, not a mistake, but just keeping mentioning some ideas. Castle. And now he went rook a8. I think he should prepare black's main plan in this line is to play on the queen side. You see these pawns are kind of pointing at the direction we should play. Whites are pointing to the king side, so we should organize some attack on this side. And black will be going for the so-called minority attack. Yeah, they will be pushing, making some weak pawns for us, while we are attacking them on the king side. So very complex game will develop with chances for both sides, I would say. So you go rook e1. Okay, now you want knight e5 perhaps. Yeah, so you go for that. And you say, I arranged my bishop on a good square, placed the knights annoyingly, yeah, placed the knights and rook on semi-open file, and queen was ready to join the attack. Yeah, excellent play so far. And so as I mentioned, white has to attack on the king side, and in this so-called reversed Carlsbad structure. Yeah, you can Google it more. This is a very famous from Queen's Gambit structure, but it's kind of reversed in colors when we play this line against Caro. So b5 you played, you say opponent started wasting time in my opinion by moving pawns on the queen side, and I decided to start exposing his king. Well, not exactly true. Yeah, he has to go for these this minority attack, so he's not exactly wasting time. And yeah, that's his main plan actually, to get counterplay. So you go a3, you stop b4. Another interesting move was a4 maybe, because b4 he cannot easily play, yeah, because we might take on a6, yeah. So if he goes rook b8, we might even do an annoying pin like this. Or if he goes queen b8, there is some crazy engine suggestion. We kind of discourage b4 because we pin this pawn and we might take the knight and actually win it, yeah. So some crazy moves. Very strange ones, yeah, but sometimes you can play this a4 to, even here maybe, yeah, previously you could play this a4 to kind of discourage him to move these pawns. But yeah, you concentrated on the king side, I see, so you went a3, preventing b4, yeah, now he cannot easily play a5 because this is still hanging. He went for this knight maneuver, and very good move you made, g5. So we are approaching the critical, and I would say in this game a very hard moment. It was the only critical moment I think in the game, where everyone hinged on this moment basically, which side will win after this. This is technically a mistake by opponent, and you could have actually won the game here, but for your level it's very hard to see the idea. If he doesn't take, if he goes here, we might just protect the pawn, yeah, and continue our attack. If he goes here, we already have a very nice continuation to sack the piece right here. If he takes, yeah, we're threatening mate, so this could win for white. Yeah, this is winning, and we're checkmating here nicely, like this. So he has to spot an amazing move, which I find very hard to believe that anyone could find at this level. After sack, he has this intermediate move, not taking, yeah, but rook f2, crazy move, like leaving the king one square to escape, and surprisingly, yeah, engine shows a draw here, so crazy lines. So like this, yeah, and making a perpetual. So you see how like game hinges on just one single move, unfortunately here for you. So we all have these type of games where we lose just from one critical moment, so don't be discouraged by that. So instead he took here, and you had a winning move here. You went queen f3, but this was not a good idea. Instead you could just go here and attack the knight. Like, he attacks the queen, you counter attack the knight, and you also threaten this knight, so this is kind of forced, yeah. Now he has to take here, and instead of recapturing, you take the other knight. That was the big deal, and now you see your queen is in a perfect spot to go after mate. So if he takes the rook, you go and checkmate him like this. So he cannot really take the rook, he has to take the pawn, but you save the knight and you win the piece, and you're winning basically position. This position. So game basically was deciding on this moment, yeah. Knight b2. After knight b2, you had to find the winning move, queen d2, very hard maybe to spot. Instead you went queen f3, which only kind of attacked the knight, yeah? If you did this, you attack both knights. So always try, when searching for active moves, to attack as many things as you can, yeah? When removing the queen from some attacks, usually a good idea to counter-attack something. So you went queen f3, but here our opponent already could have just taken here. I think this would be winning for him. We are not fast enough, yeah, to go for this mate. He can easily move the rook and maybe even drop the queen back to protect again, and we're losing too much in material. So instead, in the game happened knight d7, and you sacked the bishop. You said, I sacrificed my bishop, which had to be good, but then I miscalculated the follow-up, starting wasting both time and material. Actually, I think this is already like this sack is a desperate sack. Yeah, I don't think it can work in this position, because unfortunately, yeah, because you don't have really a follow-up. Okay, you calculated, yes, some moves, but how are you getting this rook to the h file? That is the question. Yeah, it takes too many turns to get here. And you see what I mentioned earlier about this h3 pawn. So maybe in the next game think about this h3, whether you need it or not, yeah? If there was no pawn on h3, you could immediately go like this, yeah? Lift the rook, then it would be very dangerous for black. So, but since you didn't have this move, I think the attack is just stalling and it's coming to an end, yeah? And suddenly he's a piece up and he's basically winning, yeah? Realizing his material advantage. Your attack is gone. Yeah, it got repulsed. So, but very nice fighting game. Surprisingly, on such a 1000 level, yeah, you didn't make any blunders. It was very hard moment, this one, after knight b2, basically. One decider game moment. So let's conclude, yeah. So opening was fine. I think you think about this queen b3 idea, 7th move. Yeah, instead of knight f3, just move the queen out. We get out of the pin, then we develop the knights, and after this rook moves to e1, we jump with the knight on e5. That's usually the main plan with white. And second, yeah, next thing is yeah, this critical moment I mentioned after g5. So yeah, very surprising game for this level, that it just got decided on just one moment after knight takes b2. You needed to find the winning move, queen d2. Going after, yeah, you see, we're intermezzo move gf, yeah, and we're going for mate or winning the knight. So that's why we need to search for these counter-attacking moves. Yeah, so main takeaway from this game, yeah, sometimes we have these sorts of strange games, just on one critical moment it gets decided. Yeah, because you attack desperately on the king side, yeah, you want to checkmate him, and it got decided this way. But keep training, keep working, yeah, and your results will come, yeah. Wish you the very best, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.